All right, hey everybody, how's it going? This is Hump Day Hangouts. It is April 15th, in fact, and this is episode 24. All right, so you're here with Semantic Master. You got Bradley, myself, Adam, Marco, and Hernan. So how's it going, guys?
Good.
Hey everyone, go. I guess I'll say hi first. What's up, everybody? Happy Hump Day.
Hey.
All right, cool. Well, I think we got a few questions already lined up, but I know we got some stuff we definitely want to cover. Actually, we were just having a discussion here about some stuff, so we got some good info for you guys today. So why don't you take it away, Bradley?
All right. Yeah, there's been some issues with some of the people doing RSS stuff with YouTube channels because of YouTube changing their custom URL eligibility requirements. And this has been a while now, but I guess just because I have so many of the accounts that I work on have custom URLs that I haven't experienced as many of the issues that a lot of you that are generating or creating new channels are experiencing. So I've got, and we'll talk about this probably a little bit more in Masterclass too. I just want to run through this very briefly since we don't have a lot of questions on the events page yet for right now. But I'm going to put this here, Adam. I'm going to paste this in group chat. If you can put that on the event page, please. That is, let me go ahead and take the screen too. All right, so this is the support for YouTube talking about how to get a custom URL. And there's eligibility requirements that have to be met now. So I'm sure you guys know if you create a new YouTube channel now that you can't just click the advanced settings and create a custom URL like you used to be able to. It's been like that for, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks now. And maybe even longer. Time flies. But these are the eligibility requirements to get a custom URL. And really, the only reason why, well, number one, for branding purposes, it's good to have that. Number two, it's because using the different RSS feeds that we talk about in Advanced RSS Academy, some of them will not work without a custom URL. And we actually just confirmed that today. Marco did, in fact, confirm that today because we had a support issue raised with one of our students, and we looked into it. I looked into it briefly, and then I said, Marco, I need you to do this, and he looked into it for me, and apparently we're not able to use some of the RSS feed types from YouTube unless you have a custom URL. So in looking into it further, we have some that work and some that don't. Marco, we'll share that in, we're going to create like a little cheat sheet, guys, and add it to the Advanced RSS training, the Advanced RSS Academy training. Okay, so it'll be inside the members area, and then we'll probably talk about it again in Masterclass as well. So it'll be available in there for those of you that are members of that. But the eligibility requirements, if you're just doing video SEO, so you don't have a companion or an associated website, you're going to need 500 or more subscribers. The channel is at least 30 days old. Your channel has uploaded a photo for the channel icon, which is like your profile image, which if you're doing a company, it's going to be usually a logo. That's that square profile image. And then your channel has uploaded channel art. And I talked about this in Masterclass, why it's important. I said channel art was added to the authority of a channel. A lot of people would want to argue with me about that. Well, right here's proof. You can't even get a custom URL unless you have channel art uploaded. So if that doesn't tell you that does make a difference in the authority of the channel, then I don't know what will. Okay. Also, you can qualify for a custom URL by linking and verifying your official web page with your your channel or Google Plus page. This is the associated website, guys. We were talking about this in Masterclass just last week. This was last week's training we did on associated websites or companion websites, as I've always called them. But by linking that together and also confirming and verifying in Google Webmaster Tools, you can get a custom URL. Okay, but for those of you that aren't doing that, this is more reason why you should. If you're going to go with a particular channel that you plan on monetizing and building out quite a bit, you should have an associated website with it. Anyways, it adds to the authority of the channel. It will help you to rank both your videos easier plus your website, in fact. Okay, so that's just something I wanted to cover. But for those of you that aren't going to be doing, don't want to mess with adding a website, then you still have to meet these requirements here. So we're going to talk about this, but there's a Facebook group, and again, we're going to cover this in Masterclass after today. Okay, so after the Hump Day Hangouts, we're going to go into more detail about this. But we have a Google Plus group that we had created where you guys can join. It's open to anybody, where you can do share videos and get people to search for them, find them in the SERPs, click through, watch them, like them, comment on them, whatever it is that you want us to do. It's crowdsourcing, right? But I would encourage, and Marco brought this up, that maybe we all start subscribing to each other's channels, because it's better to get real subscribers than to buy spam subscribers. In fact, I recommend against buying spam subscribers. You probably can and still fool this to get at least one of these 4 requirements met, but you're going to get much more authority out of your channel. You'll see that you'll build authority faster if you're not using like pure spam stuff. And like, I don't ever buy spam views anymore, guys. It'll get your account shut down or terminated, or at least your video will get terminated. YouTube will delete a video right out of your channel if they think that you're buying spam views. I've had it happen, so I know for sure. I've never had an actual channel terminated, but I've had videos deleted, and I've gotten the warning messages from YouTube for buying spam views. So don't do that anymore at all. But if you're buying real views or crowdsourcing views, which there's some solutions. We're not going to get too far into that right now because that's going to be reserved for masterclass. But I do have a group that we had I had started for that. So let me go find that real quick, and I'll share the link with you guys.
Also, if you get a video flag or you get flagged, your channel gets flagged. I mean, you just need a video flag for your whole channel to feel the penalty, so to speak. So all of the good things that used to happen with videos, ranking faster and those kind of things, they usually stop. I think the threshold is 6 months. You have to wait for 6 months until it'll clear up,
Yeah.
So you need to have that in mind.
If you get a strike, a negative strike, like it takes a lot of your normal YouTube things that what we're used to seeing and using, guys. It's a privilege, right? For us to be able to use YouTube, and they'll take some of those privileges away from you. So that's why I said you got to be careful. I mean, I try not to spam. Don't get me wrong, I've got spam channels, guys. There's no question that I've got spam channels. But for the ones that I want to, for longevity and stuff, like I try to be careful and try to err on the side of caution, just like I would with a money website, right? So here I'm going to post this. Well, here I'll give it to you, Adam. You can post that on the events page. I encourage everybody to join this group. I'm not real active in this because I use crowdsearch.me. Like I use the hell out of that thing for video SEOs, for like social engagement. So I'm not real active in this anymore, but you guys are more than welcome to join and become active in here and encourage each other to subscribe to each other's channels, and also to do the Google search for the keywords of the videos that people are trying to rank. Find them in the search results, click on it, watch it through its entirety, or at least if it's most of the time the videos are short anyways, so just watch the video through its entirety. Then you could also click on it or click like. You can comment on it. I wouldn't recommend that every time that you submit a video you ask everybody to like it and comment on it, because that looks unnatural. But you can you can ask for certain engagement signals from other people that are real members. Okay, and this is a private community, so none of this stuff is indexed, guys. People can't see this activity unless they're members of this group. Because I know there's some other groups that do this sort of thing on Google Plus, and they're public, and I don't recommend that at all, because then everybody can see that activity. And so I've set this one to private, so none of this activity will be seen by anybody unless they're in the group. And then if they're in the group, they can see what's going on. So just keep that in mind. Now Facebook's a different story. Facebook, there's a group that does that as well. It's not my group, guys, so I don't. I'll share the URL with you, but follow the people's rules that set up that group. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I can't even remember which one it is. I haven't been in there in so long. Let's see, maybe it was copy and paste. Mastermind, was that it? No, that's not it. You know what? I'll try to find it and send it in, guys. It's a search. It's a one of the same groups like what we're talking about. I just can't remember which one it is.
Yeah, guys, if we find that, we'll just add it to the timestamp, so you can just find the video on the replay, and we'll have it there.
Yeah, because I can't find it at the moment, and yeah, I can't find it at the moment. But anyways, that's another. That's, like I said, that's not my group or our group. So you guys just follow the rules of the moderator or the owner of that group. But that's another one. There's a lot of activity in there. I think there's over 1,000 people in that group now. Okay. So, anyways, with that said, we'll go ahead and move on. Let me get back to the events page if I can find it.
Good deal. So I'll go ahead and start. We'll go through the first question here.
Okay.
It's going to be from Estelle. She's talking about the advanced RSS training, and the grouping feeds video, you have in your spreadsheet 12 RSS URLs plus 3 feedburner URLs for the Google properties plus a pipes URL for the YouTube channel. Why don't you create feedburner URLs and Yahoo Pipes URLs for all 12 sites? Is it worth doing that?
Yeah, you can, Estelle. I just don't because it takes too much damn time when you've got as many networks as. But yeah, you certainly can. Absolutely, you can. And in fact, the advanced RSS training where we talk about how you can submit the blended URLs to like the aggregators. If you wanted to take the time to submit each one of those, like you could take every single one of your RSS feeds from like your money site, for example, and burn a feedburner feed and burn a Yahoo Pipes or create a pipe out of it, right? Then you could do that for like your Blogger feed and your WordPress and Tumbler and Delicious and Digo. You could do it for every single one of them, but think about how much work that would be. Absolutely, you can. Then you can actually go to the aggregators like FeedBite, for example, and submit the URL there, and then submit each version of it. So you could submit the main RSS feed, then the pipes, then the feedburner, and keep doing that. But I mean, it's just you're multiplying your work exponentially. So in order to streamline the process, that's why we use just the blended feeds and then submit them that way. But you absolutely can. I would just set up different accounts for that if you're going to do it. Okay.
Cool. And then the second one, she's just asking, can you confirm that she should do that for both T1 and the 3 tier 2 ranks? So she's talking about the full spread there.
And again, you can, Estelle. I typically don't. I will just usually set it up for my tier 1 network, and that's it. So it's my money site feed plus the tier 1 feeds, the tier 1 network feeds that all get spliced together and then set up. You certainly can for that. If again, I don't do it because I got so many of them. It's just, it's just too much work. So I really typically don't do that. But you absolutely can. You'll get more push out of your tier 2 network if you do that. Okay. Okay. Brian, I see he asks, buying high authority Tumblr and Twitter accounts, do they help rankings when posting to IFttt? Yeah, of course they do, Brian. Of course they do. Any place you would recommend for buying these high metric accounts? Well, it's funny you should ask. We are going to be probably providing that service here very shortly. We're working on that right now, being able to provide high authority aged Web 2 networks for sale for you guys, because I know there's a demand for that already, and it's probably going to continue to grow. So we're actually working on setting up a marketplace for that where we can sell you guys aged Tumblr accounts, aged Blogger accounts, stuff like that. Okay, so we don't have that available yet. Not sure when the turnaround time is going to, how soon we're going to have that marketplace set up, but it's something we're working on. In the meantime, in fact, it's funny that you asked about that, because we're going to be talking about that somewhat today, a little bit in the master class, which I don't think Brian's a member of that, but so I'm just going to give you a place where I have found it before. I've found Tumblr blogs from here before. Let's see. Tumblr. SEOclerks.com. You might have to search around for it, guys. If I can't find it in just a second, then I'll here we go. Here we go. Provide high PR3 Tumblr accounts, 24-hour delivery for $11. So go to SEOclerks.com. Here, I'll just put this search URL in the here, Adam. You can post this at the top of the page, please. Excuse me for a second. I'm getting.
They are probably a little bit higher quality than the ones you may be able to find on Fiverr. You can do that on Fiverr as well. But these SEO clerks guys, they usually, they charge more because they use more tools and they make the due diligence. You still have to do your own due diligence because, PR, it's a nice metric you need to be careful about, but we are all about trust flow right now, right. And on some cases page authority for Tumblrs particularly. But yeah, that's a good
yeah.
Point.
There's a provider that I found on here where I bought PR5 Tumblr blogs from them, and I found them in here in SEO Clerks, and they'll send you and I can't remember who it is exactly. I'd have to dig up the link, but they'll send you a spreadsheet that has the available domains that they have, Tumblr domains that they have, and then what the metrics are. But then absolutely you want to do your own due diligence. Go to Majestic, take a look at the backlink profile, look at the trust flow, the citation flow, Page authority, yeah. And so I always go after the highest quality ones that I can find. And like for a PR5, I think it was like $80 for a PR5. A PR4 was I think like $30 or something, and a PR3 was like $10 or something like that. So it can be expensive, but again, we're going to probably be providing that service, guys. We're working on that right now to see if it's something that we're going to do. But we're probably going to have a marketplace where you guys can come purchase aged accounts and things like that, and possibly PBN domains as well, like expired domains. So we'll talk more about that when we get closer to launching that. Okay. Okay, so Scott says, what are some ideas for using Google stuff like Docs? Does each Google sign-in give you a different area for these tools files? Yes, Scott, it does. You can get a separate Drive account for every account that every persona account that you set up will have a separate Drive account. And is the Google shortener just for your master Google account? No, again, the Google shortener, what each account that you set up, each Google account you set up is going to have its own suite of Google tools. Okay. You say I desire to separate projects. Yeah, I mean I don't blame you. It depends on what you mean by that. Like I have my master Google Drive account that is like freaking huge. It's got like 60-some gigabytes of data in it. So I use the hell out of Google Drive. So I keep like all of my networks and everything. Everything's all in that one account. But then like obviously, if you're trying to keep like Google URL shortener accounts and stuff separate, every persona that you set up, Scott, is going to give you a different set of Google accounts. The tools that Google gives everybody. So if you want to, I just personally, like my Drive account, I keep everything, like if I want to separate projects, then I'll keep projects separated by persona account, but then I'll still share the folders with me, my main account, so that I can access everything from one account. Because otherwise it's really a management nightmare. If you just got a handful of stuff, then maybe it's not so bad, but when you get dozens or hundreds of accounts, then it becomes a real nightmare. So okay, hopefully that was helpful. Monique says, will these two example WordPress install scenarios cause a conflict if you have multiple installs on a domain under the directory setup rather than the subdomain setup, with an install also on the root site, siteexample.com or pageexample.com/videos and siteexample.com/videos in a directory folder? Yeah, that would cause a conflict, Monique. Not only that, but I wouldn't recommend installing sites on directories anyways, because if you were to get a penalty on a site on a directory, it's going to be a domain-wide penalty. So everything would suffer from that. That's why we use subdomains, is because it isolates any potential risk down to just that particular subdomain, with which you could abandon that subdomain, reinstall the same, clone the site, put it on another subdomain, and voila, you're back to normal again. Obviously, if it's an inbound link thing, then you need to fix it. If it's an on-page thing, you need to fix it. But you can remove the penalty just by moving the site to a different subdomain, if that makes sense. Obviously, if you caught a penalty, let's put it this way: if you guys have a site on a root domain, and that root domain, and you're doing something that causes your site to get slapped by Google to catch a penalty, that penalty is site-wide. It's domain-wide, which means it's going to affect the root domain and all of its pages and/or posts, and anything that's built on a subdirectory. Okay, so like if you've got other WordPress sites in directory folders from that root domain, they're going to be hit too. Plus, any subdomain that you have, if you have any subdomains on that site, it's going to be hit because it's a domain. It's a site-wide penalty. Okay, but if you have a subdomain, like let's say it's blog.example.com. And then you have another one, like let's just say, I don't know, let's just use news as an example, news.subdomain.com. Those are two different WordPress sites, and if your blog catches a penalty, your news.example.com site won't be penalized. Neither will your example.com root domain. It's just that subdomain that got hit. So then you could literally take that subdomain site, clone it, put it on another one. You could call it blog2 if you want, put it on blog2 subdomain, and the penalty is lifted. Just find out what caused the penalty to begin with and mitigate it. Fix that. But yeah, according to what the specific question you're asking, would that cause a conflict? Yeah, it would, because they're the same slug. You see what I'm saying? But I wouldn't recommend doing that. I mean, if there's a particular reason why you're doing that, then you have to you'd have to worry about making sure that your URLs are unique, your slugs are unique, because otherwise it would cause a conflict. I mean, you can't have the same URL for both of those because it's got to resolve to only one location. Does that make sense? I think hopefully that makes sense. But again, guys, I don't recommend using directories unless there's a particular reason why that you're using a directory. I recommend using subdomains. I mean, I build everything on subdomains now. Didn't used to, but I do now.
Unless you're siloing, sorry, Adam, but unless you're siloing the website, and that's WordPress or some HTML creating subfolders, then everything should go. Everything that's not vital, even the blog, should go into a subdomain. That also pumps DA on the main domain.
That's right.
All right. So this next one, I'm going to summarize this, is are you going to have duplicate content issues if you have the directory set up rather than the subdomain setup, and you have the same content on there, and is using a subdomain setup going to help with that? Okay, I'll let you read through there, but just for everyone else, that's kind of what it's asking. If you have some of the same content on two WordPress setups on the same domain, is that going to be fixed by having the same content on subdomains?
Sorry, guys, I'm reading, so bear with me while I'm quiet. While I'm being quiet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, again, I wouldn't. If you have content, similar content on separate subdomains, they're considered independent sites. So you would be less likely to catch a duplicate content penalty that way than if you were to have them on directories or subdirectories of the main site. However, I'm not sure why you would have that kind of a setup anyways. I'm not really other than maybe like an e-commerce site or something where there's going to be a lot of duplicate content. I'm not sure why you would do that. Without more context, I'm not sure, Monique, how to answer that question. What is the advice in general about how to set up your domains with multiple WordPress installs? Is there a plugin? Okay, I mean, for example, I just use subdomains, and I manage everything. Again, it's funny because a lot of these questions are so closely related to what we're going to talk about today in Masterclass.
Maybe you should join Monique.
I'm sorry?
Maybe Monique should join the Masterclass.
Yeah, I don't know if she is or not. She might be a part of the Masterclass, but we'll talk about it on a high level, conceptual level here, but we'll get more into detail in the Masterclass. But one of the things that I do to manage multiple WordPress installs is I just use MainWP to manage all of my blogs the way that I have them set up in the groups, and I use MainWP so that it makes it easy to manage multiple installs of WordPress. I know there's multi-site, WordPress multi-site. I've never actually used that, so I have no idea how that works. But I know that one of our former members, Braulio, he did some training on, he's got a Udemy course on using WordPress multi-site. But I can't really speak good or bad about it because I know nothing about it. Does anybody?
Hey, Bradley.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've used multi-site before, and the only problem that I run into with that is the conflict with plugins.
Okay.
You've got a lot of problems, sitemaps, and a whole lot of other stuff that you run into issues, and that you have to find workarounds. I suggest just different installs on subdomains.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, that's just what for me, I've never, like I said, I've never even messed with multi-site. I just use multiple subdomains and use each a different install, and then I just manage it with MainWP. And it's easy to manage. It's not hard. I mean, I've got a lot of sites, and it's not hard to manage with MainWP. So, is there a plugin that allows users to have different sidebars depending on which the mentor's topic content you are showing? Yeah, there are. They're called conditional widgets. And you can set up. Plus, there's also plugins that you can set. Like, for example, there's one plugin that we like to use a lot. I know Hernan and I use it a lot, but it's an RSS plugin. What's it called? You know which one I'm talking about, Hernan, where it shows different RSS content, like news content in the sidebar.
Oh, yeah, the related RSS.
Yeah, that's what it's called, related RSS. Yeah, related RSS, and that's a plugin that will show either Bing News, Yahoo News, or Google News content in the sidebar. depending on, for each page it'll show different content depending on what the main tag is of that post or keyword of a page. And that's really useful for like because it changes, right? The sidebar content will change every time the page is crawled, it's going to have different content in the sidebar, but relevant, related content based on the keyword or the tag of that page or that post. So I know that there are plugins that do that sort of thing, Monique. I don't know specifically what it is that you're asking about, but there's also conditional widgets plugins. Like widget context is one of them. There's a bunch of them. There are a dime a dozen. You can find a bunch of them, but you can set parameters to say, okay, like if you're in this one category, you're only going to see content based around this. If you're in another category, you're going to see content based around that, whatever. So you can set that up. Okay. Let's see. Would this only be solved by setting up templates and doing some editing? Is there a shortcut? Again, yeah, there are themes that do stuff like that too. So you just got to find a solution for what it is. Like again, it's too general of a topic or a question for me to be able to answer you very specifically, Monique. I hope that's helpful though. But there are some things that you can find that will set, like for example, some of the silo plugins. Network Empire's got one that does it. Ultimate SEO. They've got Ultimate SEO, the plugin, plus they now have their SEO framework, their theme. That's a really, really good theme for that kind of stuff, where you can set up conditional content in the sidebar area depending on where you are in the site. So I know there are themes and plugins that do that. Is what I'm getting at. You just got to find them based on what your specific needs are. Okay. Ken says, "What's up, everybody? What's up, Ken?" Ken Backus, I should clarify that, because then Ken Roberts is just above that. Let's see. Ken Roberts, I find that when I build the networks like you teach, it gives me the ability to create a custom URL every time. That's freaking sweet, Ken. You mean for your YouTube channel? That's awesome. That's great. Maybe you should. Honestly, I haven't built a new channel recently because I've got so many channels that I've already built anyways that I just keep adding to. So I haven't really experienced that problem at the moment. Maybe I need to go through another build to see. Steve Madigan says no sound. Steve, check your. If you can't hear me, you're not going to hear this anyways.
Check your speakers.
Check your speakers. Check your headphones. I think everyone else can hear. Ken Backus says, what is the link to the group? It's right here on the events page, Ken. Just scroll down. It's right here, the one that says, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, we got the one. It's above him. Don't worry about it. Yeah,
okay.
We got him.
Okay, no worries. Let's see. Damon Green's here. What's up, Damon? Damon does a Hangout occasionally, too, and I've been waiting to go to that. I just never have, so what's up, Damon? Monique says, I absolutely agree. We should help each other out by subscribing to each other's channels because we all seem to have at least one similar interest. Yeah, absolutely, Monique. That would be beneficial. Join that group. And then guys like, I don't know, again, I'm not real active in it, but I don't need to be active in it for you guys to be active in it. Just, have at it. Just be respectful of each other, but help each other out. That's what it's for. I'd be happy to come in and subscribe to some channels. You guys can subscribe to ours as well. So... Ken Roberts says, I'm having problems with the YouTube RSS feed, and I've seen this on more than one channel. I sent an example to support. Yeah, we actually covered that in the beginning. I sent an example to support, and Marco answered and acknowledged this. The uploads is the only feed that is showing all videos, but we can't use this without risking getting hammered by Big G. The uploads is the only feed that is showing all the videos. Why I'm curious, Ken, as to why you say we can't use that without getting hammered.
I think he's talking about the one with the description on it, and specifically the ones where you had said if you include that in the embed output, or just putting it all out, that you are putting yourself at risk, basically, by putting the full description.
Let me clarify that then. I think I know what he's talking about now. Thank you for that, Adam. But I think what he's talking about is, okay, I used to syndicate my YouTube content with the description. So, in other words, if I was using IFttt, for example, to syndicate my content, my video, then I would also show in the recipe area, when you set up the recipe in IFttt, there's the code that you stick in, which right now is just an embed code, a link to the video URL, and then also a link back to the channel. And it's the reason I developed those or designed those recipes that way was because I used to always bring in the video description, which is an ingredient that you can select when you're creating the recipe, right? The description. But what would happen is I'd push the, I had several self-hosted WordPress sites de-indexed because they were syndicating content with the description. And so when I started pulling that back out, and my thoughts were, number one, it was that it was because usually in the video description there will be outbound links to various things that we put in there, right? And so those self-hosted WordPress blogs were getting de-indexed, and I'm assuming it was because of that, because of like the content, and it was like clearly for link building purposes and all that kind of stuff. So I started taking the description out and just using the embed code and a link back to only the YouTube stuff, which would be the YouTube video and in the YouTube channel. And I haven't had a single blog de-indexed since then that, for those kind of syndications. So that's why I said that, Ken. But specifically for the advanced RSS stuff, that really doesn't matter. The only reason why I don't, in the advanced RSS training where I talk about using the YouTube RSS feeds, I used the snippet feed only, was just because most of the aggregators or the directories that you're going to submit your feeds to aren't going to display content anyways, right? All they do is you input links, like all it is like a link back to the original. Whatever the feed items are, it's just going to display the links in that feed, not the content. And so there's a lot of aggregators that won't accept the standard YouTube RSS feed because it contains too much content. But it does not necessarily going to cause any problems if you try to submit it. Does that make sense? I hope that's clear. I think you're mixing up the two terms here. Now, if you're trying to syndicate your videos to self-hosted WordPress sites, then yeah, I would be careful. But if you're just actually syndicating to other Web 2s, I wouldn't even worry about it. Just use what you can, what's available. That makes sense, okay? Marco said he found, Marco, you said you found like at least a partial solution earlier today. Is that correct?
Yeah, but the only solution is to post the entire description, okay, with a thumbnail or without.
Okay. All right. So until you can get a custom URL and then go back to using the snippet feeds only, then I would just hold off. So build your channel authority up, get 500 subscribers, give it 30 days, or attach an associated website, verify it, get your custom URL, and then you'll be fine. If it means you just got to wait to do that, then so be it. That's the nature of this game, guys. It changes.
Yep.
Nick Polito says, since crowd search is always endorsed closed status, maybe we could create our own. Yeah, I mean, I used to do it manually, Nick. I used to do, and we're going to talk about this again in masterclass today, so I'm not going to go into detail right here. But I used to use just microtask workers, and I'd set up my own microtask campaigns where I would just hire people and I'd pay them, 8, 12, 15 cents per search, click, and watch. And so, you don't need a lot, especially for local videos, guys. You don't need a lot. It's not like you need 30 searches a day. In fact, 30 views per day that's too much because that's not natural looking. You only need a few, like seriously. Like if you're getting one search per day, that's good enough for a lot of local videos. That's all the engagement you need to get them to rank for the most part. Okay, so by the way, I'm supposed to talk. I need to talk to Anton, Dan Anton, about that because they're kind of working on another project with the Lead Gadget stuff with us, that I'm part of that too, and I was going to find out if maybe we could possibly open that up for our group as well. I don't know. I haven't talked to them yet, but that's something that might come up, guys, especially like Masterclass and Mastermind members, because I use it a lot. CrowdSearch.me, I mean, I use it a lot, so it's a very, very good service. Monique says, like Facebook better, just join us here. Yeah, well, actually, that's true. We have, is that our group? Yeah, that is our group. In fact, I didn't think about that, guys. If you guys want to use the Facebook group as well as like to request or share videos and stuff instead of the Google Plus group, you can. That Google Plus group was just set up specifically for that reason, though, and this is really just more general questions about SEO stuff. But if you guys want to, ask for that kind of stuff in here. If it gets out of control, we might set up a different group for that. But I mean, I don't mind if you guys want to do that in here too. We got 276 members in here, so yep, that's fine with me. Good idea, Monique. I didn't even think of that. Michael says, here's the Facebook group that Bradley was talking about. Okay, there you go. Yeah, this is it. And look, there's I could have sworn there was more people in it than that. Maybe I'm thinking of another group. Who cares? It's still an active group. I know that I used to be real active in here before I got into crowdsearch.me, so I know this is a good group, guys. Just follow the guys' rules. That's all I ask. Okay. Let's see. Michael Henderson says, "Is there something special I need to do to watch my iPad blank space where the screen should be?" No, I can't help you with any Apple-related questions, Michael. I'm sorry. I'm not an Apple user. If anybody else here knows, is there a reason why he can't see it?
Nah, I just asked people to let them know if they had some ideas. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not an Apple fan either. Sorry. Marco is.
Michael, maybe what you
Yeah, right.
yeah, right. Michael, maybe what you could do is click over to the Semantic Mastery YouTube channel and watch it on YouTube. You won't have the ability
that's a
to
good
leave
point. I would
questions
say
or
too,
comments.
take a look if you're trying to watch it in the browser versus in the Google Plus app or the YouTube app. I would think
Yeah.
it should work in the app, but you might have problems in the browser. So
Yeah, or
Yeah.
check another browser. You can download. I think you can download another browser for your iPad, so that could probably help.
Yeah. But I would also check, like I said, just click over to the YouTube channel and watch the Hangout on YouTube instead, and you should be able to watch it there, no problem.
Yep.
Okay. Ken Roberts says, explain how to manage all the Google accounts again. Do we add them, and should we set up one G account to add all the other accounts to? What should we not do? Well, no, Ken, just like what I talk about with persona management and channel management, which in Google Plus page management, right? Because they're one and the same. Is that if you have particular channels that you spend a lot of time working in and going, adding videos to and stuff. Like, for example, I'll just show you an example. Let me. All right. So if you see, like I've got, these are channels available. If I click through here, you'll see that these are like all the channels that I spend a lot of time in. Okay. So my point is that you can. If you set up a persona, okay, and create a Google account, you've got your YouTube channel, you got your Google Plus page, you can have a Google Drive account, okay, for that persona. And if you want to manage that channel and that page through your main account because you're going in and out of it a lot and you just want to make access easier, you add yourself as a page manager, right? When you add yourself as a page manager, it also adds you as a channel manager. Well, the same thing goes with Drive. If you're in Google Drive and you've got and for whatever reason you want to keep accounts separate, which I don't know why, but if you wanted to for whatever reason, then all you would do is inside of Google Drive is just share the folders that you wanted access to from your main account with yourself, right? Does that make sense? Let's just go to Drive very quickly. I'm surprised this is not really SEO related, but that's fine. I'll be happy to answer it. If we go in the Drive, I'm currently in my Drive account now. This is my main Drive account. But if I wanted to share a particular folder, let's say that I wanted to share this. Let's say I was in a persona account and I wanted to share this folder right here with me, my main account. Then I would just highlight the folder and I would click to share, and then right here I would put in my main email address and click. I wouldn't do it from go to advanced. I always go to advanced because if you could do it from that other screen you just saw a second ago, then it'll make it anybody with the link can view, and instead I want to keep it specific to just private. Only I can access, or people that I give specific access to. In this case, I would add my email address here, and then click send. And then from there, now if I click back out of here, so let me cancel this. If I go to shared with me and I click on that, that's where I'm going to see the folders that have been shared with me from other personas. Okay, does that make sense? But it's very similar to like how we share YouTube channels and Google Plus page logins, guys. You just go set it up through a persona's account and then share it with your main account. Okay. Armando says, in regard to your custom URL, there is a workaround. Great. If you guys created your YouTube channel, build it out, and then instead of adding a companion site just to verify your Blogger account, and that instantly makes you eligible for a custom URL for both Google Plus and YouTube. That's fantastic, Armando.
That's fabulous. Thank you,
That is
Armando.
awesome. He gets bonus points.
there you go. There's an answer.
I just +1'd it. Everybody go +1 Armando's comment, please. Vote him up for that because that was awesome. And by the way, Adam, you might want to copy that text out and we'll put it into our FAQs and we'll maybe do a video on it and stuff. That's awesome, Armando. Thank you.
Awesome.
Kathy says, where do I find pricing info for your mastermind course? Did you already post the URL, Adam?
Say that again?
She was asking about pricing for the mastermind course.
No, but I would love to find that link and give it to her in just a minute.
How about I just pull it up?
All right.
All right. Okay, here is the URL for that. Great question. I love those kind of questions. Kathy. So anyways, I'm going to post this at the top of the page, but it's if you just go to mastermind.semanticmastery.com, it'll take you right here to this page, and that's where you can check out the sales page and the pricing info. There's 3 levels, guys. There's the mastermind plus the outsourcer training, which is $147 a month. Then there's the mastermind only, which is $97 a month. And then there's outsourcer training only, which is $67 a month. Or like I said, the 2 combined for $147. If you join the mastermind, you get everything else that we pretty much output for included with your membership. So like if you're already a masterclass member and you want to join mastermind, you join mastermind and it will cancel your masterclass payments because you'll get that included anyways. Like mastermind is like our top level, our top tier. So you get everything else included. And if we do anything like $300 or more, you'll get a significant discount on that. Anything under that, you get included as part of the mastermind members. Membership has its privileges. So, Richie says, does the www.subdomain count as well? Yeah, Richie, great question. That is an absolutely great question, and I fail to explain that a lot of the times. But yeah, guys, listen, if I used to argue. In fact, I had an argument with a debate. Let's put it that way, nicer, with Marco and one of my partners about a semantic mastery website. Because originally, when we set up the website, he set it up on a www, and I was like, "Why would you do that?" Because I said, I always hated the www because I thought it was completely unnecessary, and so I would always if I was building on a root domain. This was before I started doing everything on subdomains. If I would build on a domain, I would always omit or eliminate www, right? So it would just be the URL itself, the domain dot whatever. But in fact, yes, Google counts www as a subdomain. So if you have a site on a root domain, don't do this if you have an existing site with a bunch of backlinks pointed to it and everything else, because it'll wreak havoc on your site. But if you wanted to build on a root domain, because of branding purposes, like a lot of clients, they're going to want their root domain. Okay, they're not going to want to hear about this subdomain stuff. They're just not going to want to hear about it. So if you want to do that, what you can do is you can build on your root domain just like you normally would, and then in WordPress settings, you set up your canonical to be a www. And that actually counts as a subdomain, so that in the event that your site gets a penalty for whatever reason, you can abandon the www and just go to your root or another subdomain like domain.com, and it will essentially, if you fix whatever caused the penalty, it'll remove the penalty entirely. Okay, does that make sense? So hopefully that was clear. I'm not sure if that was clear. Let me just show you.
Sorry, Bradley, but when you're buying whatever you're doing, if you're doing PBNs or whatever, or you're buying domains, it's usually wise to check on Majestic SEO the www version versus the non version, because they will output different, and they usually have for big sites as well. They will usually output different metrics, depending on the backlinks. So if that's the case, you can use either one or the other, depending on which version of the site has the more juice.
That's right. What I'm talking about here, guys, is right here when you set up, like you can see, because again, when we first set up this site, I was against using the www, and it was before I started building everything on subdomain. Dude, now I don't build anything unless it's on a subdomain now. And what I might do is, if you see the appearance of something that looks like it's on a root domain, it's only because I've built the site on a subdomain and then redirected everything to the root domain. And all of my SEO activities are being built to the subdomain, which you don't see because it's 301 redirected to the root. And again, that's probably going to open a big can of worms. And honestly, if you guys want to get into how all that works, you need to join the mastermind. Simple as that. But as far as you wanting to do that, guys, it's a real easy fix. Again, if you have an existing site, I wouldn't recommend doing this. If it's a new site and there's not a lot of backlinks and stuff, I wouldn't worry about it. You could do it. But if you have an existing site that's old and stuff like that, don't do this. But going forward, once you've set up, if you've built on the root already, you can just add a www right here and do the same thing right here, www, and then go ahead and click save, and it'll ask you to sign in again, and then from that point forward, your site will always resolve to the www version, and that is counted in Google's eyes as a subdomain.
Yep.
Even listen, guys, even if you haven't installed your WordPress, like you don't have to go in the cPanel and create a www.subdomain. Does that make sense? It's not like you have to install all your WordPress files in a www.directory in your public HTML folder of your server. It doesn't. You don't have to do that. All I'm saying is that Google will count that as it being built on a subdomain, even though it's just really a canonical. It's just a redirect to that www version of the URL. If that makes sense.
Hey, Bradley.
Yeah.
What people also need to know is whatever version that they build on, if that's their money site, if that's where everything's going, then they need to redirect either the non-www version or the www version. I mean, or vice versa. It needs to be redirected, or Google's going to treat it as two different websites.
That's correct. Yeah, and you can also set that in Webmaster Tools too.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So. All right, we're gonna have to roll through the next few. I didn't want to get too deep into that, but
no, it's good. Let's get going.
Okay, Estelle says my client site has trust flow, citation flow, DA, and PA hired to all of its competitors, and yet I'm having a hard time ranking it in top 3 for many of the keywords. How come? Too many variables, Estelle, for us to.
Yeah.
There's just no way that we can possibly give you an answer without analyzing the site. It could be a number of things. It could be on page. It could be silo structure. It could be your backlink profile. I mean, age. It could be just so many different variables that there's just it's too complex of a question for us to be able to give you an answer. Sorry for that.
My 2 cents. Start with what you have control over and go from there.
Yep. Always start with on page first, because on page you have the most control over. And then if you know that your on page is tighter and better than all of your competitors, then you have to go off page, off site, right? And there's a lot of things that you can do. Like honestly. Again, like stuff that we teach in the mastermind, like, I mean, you could push a massive amount of juice to your site and probably push it up that way, but always, always, always start with on-page stuff first. Okay? Sorry I can't give you a better answer, Estelle. It's just there's too many variables there. There's no, if it was that easy, then, you know, we wouldn't make as much money as we do, right? Okay, Monique says I heard your answer.
Got the next one. Sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Clifton's got the next question.
Okay, Monique understood. Okay, Clifton says, I have an old domain that I created, WP installs and directories. It has a DA of about 30. Should I move the installs to subdirectories, or will that affect the DA? That's a good question. No, it won't affect the DA because domain authority is a site-wide metric. It will affect page authority, right? Because the URL structure will change, right? But the domain authority is going to stay the same.
Yeah, the domain authority, it will. Well, you'll still have to 301, Clifton. Whatever you're doing, if you have an old domain and you have created pages, you still need to 301 those directories to the subdomain. They will. You may see some movement on the, because it's just Google rearranging stuff and rearranging the algorithms to better fit your website. So you may see some movement, but you still need to 301 to take advantage of all of those links that are posted to directories. Domain authority, I don't think it would. In fact, if you're moving everything to subdomains and redirecting, it will probably go up.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
But PA probably will, probably some trust flow, but then again, if you're 301, you should be fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you were to just take all of your your directory sites, or let's not confuse subdirectories and subdomains, guys. Okay, so like if you have WordPress installs in subdirectories, which would be folders, right? So it would be rootdomain.com/folder. Okay, if you have them there, and then you want to move it to subdomain.rootdomain.com, then yeah, if you just were to move it, your domain authority wouldn't affect anything instantly, but you would if you didn't do what Hernan just said in 301, like all of your old pages over to your new setup, your new URL structure, then you would lose domain authority over time. There's no question. But if you do the set up the 301s properly, then you're going to just basically you're saying, hey, we moved to this structure or this address, which none of your domain authority would drop at that point. You'd see some probably some fluctuations in where your sites are ranked and stuff like that, like what Hernan said. But that's normal. Whenever you make any kind of structural changes, you're going to see movement. But like Hernan also said, I feel that you probably would end up benefiting in the long run from it because you'll see probably a greater gain from the subdomains.
Yeah. In fact, I think most update is over the next. I think it's the 20 or 21. So you can try that and see how it affects DA, and you can always roll back. So no big deal.
Yeah. Okay. Ken says, yes, I can get a custom URL for the YouTube channel, but it sends me over to the Google Plus page to name the custom URL. Yeah, because they're one and the same now. You can't have a channel now without a page. You can have a page without a channel, I believe, but you can't have a channel without a page.
Right, and they will become the same.
Yeah. So Dietrich says widget logic is the name of the plugin you can use to get specific content on specific pages of WordPress. Yeah. Yeah, because widget logic is one of them. There's another one, I think it's called widget context. Like I said, it's a conditional widget plugin, and you could probably just Google search conditional widget WP plugin and just go through them and pick one, you know, because there's several of them. They all do similar things. They just have slightly different user interfaces.
Yeah.
Okay.
For widget logic, you need to have some understanding of the WP logic, you know, because it works with the variables of PHP and the WP, but that's thoroughly documented on WordPress.org, so I don't think you would have any problem using it. It's pretty straightforward. Even for me, that I'm not a programmer or a developer, you'll get the hang of it.
Ken Backus is backing up what Armando said earlier. When adding Blogger as the main website for Google channel page, that enables eligibility for custom URL. It's awesome. See, sometimes you guys teach me stuff. It's awesome. Monique, thanks, Dietrich, for the name of the plugin, Widget Logic, as the answers to one of my questions. Appreciate it. Awesome. Nick Polito, well, I'll jump in the masterclass. Yeah, Nick is actually in, he's in our mastermind, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then he's got access to masterclass anyways. So, Scott Gray, hey Scott, if you finally get a custom YouTube channel URL, do you have to change your profile URLs in the IFttt accounts, or will it redirect automatically? It should redirect automatically, Scott. You shouldn't have to change it. Monique, as I'm not an Apple fan either. Yeah, I'm not either. I could say some bad things, but I don't want to piss off you Mac users. Michael says, I'm on my PC now, all good. See? All right, cool. We're about out. We got about 2 minutes. We're going to try to run through a couple more. Nick says we've landed a large client with a rather healthy budget. That's always good news, Nick. I'd like to pull out all of the stops on it, pre-made IFttt networks, high PR links, and more. What are some ideas of what we could be harnessing? Well, you could order done-for-you networks from us.
Yeah.
You could order done-for-you, boosting packages, or the second-tier link building packages, if you wanted. You could also, build out some of your own PBNs if you wanted, if you have a budget for that, and the budget, if you have a budget from a client like that, then you might want to begin building a PBN network for them.
Yeah, that's sorry, Bradley. That's usually where I start. I start with a 3-tier IFttt. It also depends on competition, but the usual steps will be to grab the branded properties, and then further extend with the IFttt networks, and then build a 5 to 10 PBN structure
with IFttt networks.
Yeah, with IFttt networks, and go from there. See where that takes you, and then you can, if you're in the mastermind, you can see some techniques to push your sites a bit forward, or a bit to push them up on the SERPs once you have everything else laid out. But that's usually how I start.
And press releases too. Make press releases a normal part of your, your linking. Your linking activity. Like, press releases are great, guys. I love them. You just got to use them properly, and but they work really well, and it helps because it gives you IP diversity, massive IP diversity, which is important, especially when you're using IFttt networks the way that we do, as like tier 1. Like pretty much everything we built. Like I personally, everything that I build is all my supplemental links are going to my IFttt networks, which keeps your IP diversity down. So it's not, you don't get a lot of IP diversity, but then you mix some press releases in there, and you get hundreds of IPs linking to you in a short matter of time, and it looks natural because it's a press release link. It's typical. Right. So That's how you get your IP diversity while still keeping all of your other SEO activity clean. Like all of your more less than white hat activity, buffered by your IFttt networks. All right, I'm going to answer one more, and that's it.
Yeah, you got Kathy's question is good here.
Okay, Kathy
is
says,
it possible to get a feed off of a Twitter account?
Yes, it is, Kathy. We teach you how to do that in the IFttt SEO Academy. It should be in the Advanced RSS Academy section. So if you have already purchased that, you should see it there. And Braulio says, I love Apple. Yeah, but you were the one using multi-site too, right? Braulio. That's funny. He loves Apple. Kathy, but yeah, just to clarify, go check out inside the Advanced RSS Academy, which is one of the bonuses in IFttt SEO Academy. We have a specific training on how to set up a RSS feed for your Twitter.
We teach you how to get multiple Twitter feeds.
Yep.
All
okay,
right, we
guys,
better get going.
We have to wrap it up because we got masterclass starting in 4 minutes. So everybody, glad to have you. Come next week. Hump Day Hangouts, same time, same place. We'll send out the invitation once we get the event page set up, and you guys can ask your questions there. Wow, we had 72 people say that they came today. That's great. So yeah, guys, glad everybody's here. By the way, the masterclass starts in just a few minutes. If you guys haven't joined yet, you still can. It's still open. You ought to, because there's a lot of really good information in there. Today we're covering advanced link building. So we're going to get into a lot of cool stuff today. So we'll see you guys then.
Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
All right, guys. I'll see you in a minute.
All right.